Today I'm going to teach you how to use some advanced creative tools inside of Hytale that's going to allow us to import 3D models and take them from looking like this to looking like this. Now, I understand a lot of folks are going to probably jump in the comments and say, well, this is cheat building. However, you have to consider that you still need the artistic eye to not only pack in the correct details, choosing the right color palette, but you also need an understanding of some of the advanced tooling, and it takes a decent amount of time. Now, if you do plan to use these techniques and enjoy Hytale, definitely subscribe to the channel because we're going to be dropping a lot more videos like this. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start by Googling free 3D models. I found that Sketchfab is a really good resource to start with. You do actually have to make a profile, but there is a free option. So if you want anything with the free, you just want to come over to licenses and just click the free standard. Now you can just click at the top and search whatever you want. In this case, we're going to do Charizard for today's video, but I do want to point out one thing. Although I said to use free standard, that's generally going to save you time without having to sift through a bunch of paid stuff. However, you will find some gems occasionally not using this filter. You can see here the model that we use today. I kind of got lucky and this was not under free standard. However, this is available for download for free. From here, let's move over to the bottom left-hand corner of the screen and we're going to click on download 3D model. This is going to now take you over to a format selection window, and we're going to be looking for OBJ, which is the required format in order to put these in Hytale. Now, I do want to point out some of the models do not have that available, but if you're dead set on a particular model and you don't have that, you can also download some other formats and use a free online converter. However, if you do have OBJ in the original format, we're just simply going to click the download button here. And now you're going to have a file in your downloads. We're going to go ahead and click that and open it up. And from here, let's go ahead and double click on the file folder. Some of these are zipped, some of them are not, but this is going to be the actual OBJ file that we're going to need. However, if you do have a zip file, we just need to go ahead and click extract all items in this folder. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to right click and just cut this file. And I recommend going into your desktop or somewhere and just creating a new file called OBJ, where we're going to go ahead and just copy and paste this into this folder. I do also recommend here renaming it to something very short and easy to remember, like this being Charizard. I just put char.obj. You need to make sure that that OBJ is still at the end of the file when renaming. Now we're going to load into our world, and you can actually be in survival, but we're going to need to toggle over to creative in order to place this down. So where we're going to do that, if you're in survival mode, you can just type in /op space self and then hit enter. What that's going to do is bring you over into creative mode so we can use the tools we need. And in order to get to these tools, you're going to go ahead and click B on your keyboard. And up at the top here in the creative tools section, you'll find world. We're going to go ahead and hover over that and go down to import OBJ. When clicking on the import OBJ, you can see here there is a file path that it's asking for. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure we can go back to our folder, and we're going to copy that actual file path right up here at the top of the screen. And then we need to remember the name of our file. Again, remember we said we wanted to make this something super simple to remember. So let's copy our file path. Let's go back to the game. And then this time what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click in the file path and paste this in. And then we have to hit backslash and then type in the file name. So in this case, it's going to be char.obj. And after putting in the name, we do not want to just rush to hit import to clipboard. Otherwise, you will end up with an absolute trash model. Take a look. So in order to get some really good models just using the basics, we need to understand two things. First, the block height and also the fill block pattern. So starting with the height, the number in this box is going to be representative of the amount of blocks from the very bottom all the way to the highest point of the model. And then the fill block pattern is where we're going to actually enter the color of the overall model that we're going to be placing down. Since the majority of Charizard's color is orange, we're just going to go into our inventory and search for orange blocks. Now you can see we have a couple of different options in here, but I find that this orange coral block is the best choice for the color we're looking for. So we're going to click and drag that over into our inventory. So one very important detail here is we're going to want to look at that ID under the actual block name. Now you can see this is actually ID plant underscore coral underscore block underscore orange. What we're going to want to do is actually take this ID and jot it down on a notepad to where we can go ahead and copy and paste this. And again, we're going to hit B to go back to creative tools, and then under world, we're going to click on this import OBJ one more time. Now from here, what we're going to do is copy paste our file back in. This is going to be the path. And then again, we're going to have to do the / filename.obj, and then let's open up the notepad where we paste the color down. We're going to copy and paste that color right here in the fill block pattern. Now again, remember what I said about height? Doing 20 is not going to give us much detail on this model. Let's go with like 120. That should give us a really gigantic Charizard. We're going to import this to clipboard. And now you can see when you do some really large models, it's going to look really, really goofy like this. But all we need to do is make sure you point in an area that's nice and open for these larger models. And we're going to right click to paste that in. Now, if you can see here, we almost got swallowed by the entire thing. This thing is huge. It's actually bigger than the model that I created for today's video. But as you can see, we have the entire Charizard model down. Now, this is where the actual work's going to begin though. Just because you can paste in the model, you still have to draw in detail. That's what we're going to talk about now. I'm going to show you some awesome ways and tools that you can use to get this thing completely colored. I'm going to show you some really cool creative tools in a moment, but I want to start with some obvious ones. I recommend getting the color palette blocks you need. You can see on my hotbar, I have some greens. I also have the yellow for his torso. I've got some whites, blacks, and even some blues for the eyes. From here, we can reshape, carve out, and even draw in some of the details using the blocks that we've selected. You can see another example here of me actually removing some of the blocks that appear to be in the position of the teeth, and then just going and replacing them with the correct color. However, not every detail is actually going to be easily put in. You can see here of me building the flame on the tail, so there definitely is some building and artistic creativity behind bringing these models to life. For larger color selection areas, I'm going to show you this advanced technique using the selection tool. To access the selection tool, we're going to go and hit tab to go to our inventory, and we're going to select this tab right here up at the top, and then you have this selection tool here. All we need to do is click and drag this down into our hotbar. And then we're going to hit the hotkey associated with it. So in this case, we're hitting 9. And now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to select an area of this torso that we want to change the color of the blocks. Now, the easy way to do this is just by simply finding a good reference image for the model that you're recreating. I think it starts right about here under the armpit. So we're just going to go and rough this in by holding shift, and we're going to hit the left click, and we're going to come down here towards the bottom, and we're going to just select the block here by holding shift and right clicking. And what you can see is that's highlighted an entire section of his torso. And also what we want to do is see these little panes here. You can actually click and drag those to make, edits and adjustments if you want to change the height or the width of it. And you can also click these to bring this further out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of set this here so we can make sure we're going to edit all of the blocks inside of this selected area. You know what we might do actually too over here, I'm noticing we're going to want to click and drag this back as well to make it a little bit more balanced. Now, once you have the desired area that you're looking to convert, we're going to then use the command by pressing / and replace. And then we're going to hit space. And now what we need to do is first put in the ID of the block we're changing. So in this case, the ID of the block we're changing is plant coral block orange. And this is case sensitive, so you have to type it exactly like it is with caps and the underscores there. Next, we're going to hit space, and then we want to put in the desired block that we want to change the color to. So in this case, we're going with the ID cloth block wool yellow. So now we're going to go ahead and type that in. And just like we did before, copy and paste this command onto a notepad so you can use it later. Be sure at this point to check your spelling and make sure that it's the correct one, because if you hit enter and it's anything wrong with it, it's not going to change the blocks. But once you're ready to go, let's go ahead and hit enter. Now you can see an entire section of the torso has been updated. You can go in and use that same method to really shape it out a little bit more, or you can now go in detail with individual blocks for a lot more control and customization on the shape of the selection. And again, be sure to copy and paste every single color swap command that you're going to be doing for your model. If you have to type this in every single time, you're going to be here till like 2028. You can see on something like the scale of these wings, I used it over 100 times. So being able to just simply hit enter, control V, and enter again for every selection is going to save you boatloads of time. And if you're interested in seeing how I was able to take this entire build and actually copy and paste it over there, you can do this with any single build you put together in Hytale. I'm going to link that video down in the description. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more Hytale content. Also, hit that like button and drop a comment down below. Let me know what models you plan to make.